What's up, everybody? Welcome to the In the Blind podcast. Today we have singer, songwriter, musician, actor, man of many talents, Mr. Callum Kerr.
What's up, y'all? Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Man.
We really appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, we've been looking forward to this. I know you've been playing and working a little bit for us around here for quite a while now, and we're really big fans of you and just the person you are. First and foremost, you've always been super solid. And when we got this thing going, we're trying to come up with a good guest list, and I was like, man, we gotta get Callum on. He's got too much going on, enough to talk about. So,
hope I don't disappoint here. Yeah. That's quite the intro.
Right. Well, hey, we're here to make you look good, brother. So, we'll do our best. But I guess we'll dive right in. I know you're obviously Scottish.
Sir.
How long you been in the States?
I got to Austin, or the Hill Country, in 2012.
2012. So you've been here. You've been here a good while.
I've been here a while, but I've always been back and forward with acting stuff. And at one point, I went back to go to college, and that lasted about 6 months. Yeah. And I just came back to the States. I was like, I'm having way too much.
So where'd you go to college over there?
In Edinburgh. It was actually we call it college. You go college, and then university is like a step up. So it was actually kind of like a community college.
Yeah.
So I dropped out of high school early, actually to pursue rugby.
Oh wow.
Which was which I was good at, but I wasn't like. It's kind of like being good enough to play in college, but not good enough to play in the NFL.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was good enough to leave school early and focus on it full time. But about a year later, I was like, God, I'm 5'11" and a half. 6 foot in boots is what I say. But that's small for a rugby player, and I kind of realized that.
And those guys are tanks, man. Like,
oh man,
I love watching professional rugby because I think what they've done to the NFL is they've pussyfied it a little bit, so it's like I like the violence. Like, I think that's what brought people to this sport originally. And you can definitely, they don't come up short of violence in rugby. So.
Oh man, you get some great hits, but they're kind of doing the same over there. I think
really?
all this I guess the concussion protocol is good, but now they're trying to protect knees and trying to protect joints, and it's like, fair enough, I get it, but at the same time, you're playing a seriously physical sport.
Right.
You've got to be willing. You got to know that might happen. It's like,
when you take the physicality out of a sport like that, it kind of destroys
the sport.
Yeah, you play netball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's plenty of other sports you can do that in, but I think that's what makes rugby so unique. It's just the physicality.
What's the frisbee game?
Frisbee golf?
Frisbee golf.
Or ultimate frisbee.
Golf. Ultimate frisbee. That's what rugby would be if you took
the.
It's like it would just.
It's like a male and female lacrosse. Like male lacrosse is super physical, and then the female game they just took it all out. Yeah. Like all the rules are made. You can't hit. You
basket
can't check.
Toss.
And I'm like. Yeah, that's not really lacrosse.
I agree.
Like that,
right.
Because lacrosse is fun to watch, I think.
It's like flag football.
But flag football, that's another thing. Like, they're trying to take that to the Olympics, and I'm like, why? I was like, it's a rec league sport in our country. Like,
my
we're
son
going to the Olympics.
Played 7-on-7 as like a spring season. I put him in it just to
to keep him
getting reps and stuff, and catching passes from good quarterbacks. But at the same time, it's like you're picking the ball up off of a table to start the play. Like, there's not a whole lot.
Right.
There's no running the ball. It's just basically playing.
And it's
500.
All those dudes that are good at flag football, it's like technique. So like where you would get hit in a football game, they can like shimmy their hips and do a little spin, and like the guy just can't grab the tag, and it's like, well, you would have been tackled if this was a real game.
Right, exactly.
And that's great. It's like that old saying though. It's always good until you get hit in the mouth. Like somebody hits, like you get in a real football game, and then somebody cleans your clock, and you're like, oh, I don't want to go back out there again. They're not just pulling flags; they're knocking my dick in the dirt. Like, like that's a whole different situation. So it's hard to prepare kids for football with 7-man. Like, but like you said,
he does it as like
a tool
to augment
practice.
his training during the year, as opposed to, no, I don't want my son getting hurt, so I'm just going to put him in 7-on-7. So,
I
remember his first season of tackle was last year, and he got into 6th grade. He played inside linebacker, and he's a smaller kid. Super athletic and strong, but somebody hit that hole, and I just watched him get flattened. And he jumped up and came over the sideline. You could see he had tears streaming down his face. But after the game, I was like, so how was that? He's like, That's freaking awesome.
That was fun, man.
He's like, that's what it feels like to get hit. I love this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Nice. So he's got some dog in him. Man.
Yeah, and he loves it. And,
I can't teach.
The harder
that,
he gets hit, the harder he plays. But.
So how old were you when you came over?
17.
So you were still a kid. I mean, were you modeling or acting or anything at that point? You just came over. Was it to do music or?
No, I just I found a summer camp job in the hill country in Texas.
Wow.
And so I basically played rugby for a year, didn't renew the contract with the team, just wanted to get out. And I didn't have the grades to get to uni or anything like that, so I was like, fuck out. I was actually aiming for California because in the back of my mind I was like, I'm going to go there, I'm going to get an agent, I'm going to be famous, I'll get out there and bang all these hot chicks, it'll be super easy. And all the jobs that were in California, they were 21 and up. Right. I was 17, so I couldn't do it. And so I went to this job fair, all these American companies, and this camp in Texas was like the first one to my left, and I was like, oh, Texas seems cool. I'll go check it out. And I was like, I'll work there and then I'll go to California. And I got to Texas and just immediately was like, I don't need to go to California. This is so good. Yeah. And it was like right when Austin was starting to kind of blow up. Similar time to Nashville.
Really sweet spot for Austin because Austin now is like, kind
of it's not nearly
the
as
way
cool
I
as it
feel
used
about
to be.
Nashville a little bit. It's like like you could have moved to Austin back then. You can't afford to move there now. It's like their housing market is even more outrageous than ours.
I had a few friends that played South by Southwest this year, and I remember that used to be one of the festivals to play. And like the street, 6th Street or whatever, would be packed with people. And I had a couple buddies that played it this year, videoing the streets and the venues, and nobody was there. I guess it's because downtown Austin's all of a sudden really unsafe and just not like the cool, trendy spot anymore.
Well, it's because you grow too fast, and then crime and everything comes with that, but you don't have the infrastructure to support that because that's what's happening to us here. I mean, East Nashville, man, it's a crapshoot over there sometimes. Like, you got to be careful. And we never really had that, 20 years ago. Like, you didn't hear there was no crime in Nashville. Now we're, shit happens.
Well, there were some shootings in East Nashville about 13 years ago. If you remember, I was part of that. I'm just kidding.
Oh, really?
Well,
no, I told a story on an episode we did with my bandmate Steven. I was drunk one night and shot a gun between my roommate's legs.
Did you miss?
I missed, thankfully. But he said, he was like, that's not that uncommon in East Nashville.
It
really wasn't.
There were people probably were like,
yeah, like, I mean, we heard it every night.
It was just one.
Dude, what was funny? I went back to Edinburgh at the start of this year, and someone set off fireworks, and immediately I was like, fireworks and gunshots, and I was like, oh yeah, we're in Edinburgh. So it only could be fireworks.
No one has guns.
Yeah. The only people you can get guns in Scotland, but it's for like hunting only.
Right.
So you can hunt with them, but if someone breaks into your house, you can't use that to shoot them.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you'd still be done for murder.
Castle doctrine or anything like that.
And I don't know the rules, but you hear some horror stories where like some guy has his house broken into, he kicks the fuck out of the guy, and then he ends up going to jail. Yes. And it's like, that guy shouldn't have been in there in the first place. So it's completely different over there. It's like, you're supposed to just, sit tight, call the police. It's like, well, this guy's attacking me. What was it? I'm sure those are just random one-off horror stories, but I
mean, that's really.
I've heard it.
It's scary, man. Like that you don't have the right to defend yourself. Yeah, that's mind-boggling. Like, I think back. I don't know if it's a horrible story that in New Zealand's got like some of the strictest gun laws in the world. Yeah, and that guy went into the mosque and he murdered like 40-something people or something like that. And I mean, just walking through, it looked like Call of Duty.
On video,
he just had a body cam on. He's just shooting people. And the only thing, because I wasn't aware of their gun laws, the only thing I was watching the video was like, where are the people with guns? Where's somebody with a gun to stop this dude? Like, why has this guy been able to? It went on for like 18 minutes. Yeah. He just walked around and drove around killing people.
And I mean, the police will have guns in those countries, but they're usually stationed at like the airport or the docks. You know what I mean? It'll still take them however long to drive there.
I mean, that's just incredibly sad, man. Like, people, like, if you come and threaten me and mine, like, I'd break in, and they didn't break into my house. Someone kicked open my door the other day, like, I don't know, like a month and a half ago. Oh, and my gun's sitting right next to me. And I'm like, it was some kids and they ran off. But I'm like, I went and talked to the people at the property manager, and I was like, hey, like, they'll get killed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just being honest with you. I was like, if someone comes into my home and threatens me or my wife, I will kill them. Like, I'll shoot them. I don't have any problems with that. I don't want to do it, but like, no one's going to come into my home and threaten me. Yeah. Like, that's just, it's not okay. It's
crazy that happened, because, I mean, most of the time you don't really hear about people, or at least when I was growing up, I'd come to America. My family had friends. We'd come over for vacations. And then when I moved here, I say as a kid, 17 or whatever, you wouldn't really hear about home invasions or anything like that too much. But like some of the stuff that you see now online is like, you know, I would almost say when I first got here, I was like probably a bit anti-gun, because I was like, you know, I come from this place where it's like you actually feel probably a little bit more safe because there's no guns.
Yeah.
But just as these cities get bigger and more crazy, you know, now I'm like,
well, and
you know, if everyone else is going to have one, you got to have one.
Yeah,
you know
and I mean, if the bad guys got them, then I got to have one.
Right.
Like, that's the whole, what it comes down to me. And like, you can't convince me you can prevent the bad guys from getting them. So until you can do that, I need my guns.
Yeah.
I know it's been told, like, what's the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun? A good guy with a gun.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is true. I mean, that you rely on law enforcement for that. But again, they're spread so thin these days.
You know, I
can sit back and twiddle my thumbs and wait for the cops to get there. Me and my family might be dead.
You can't outrun a bullet. That's the problem.
No, you
know, if it's like a knife or something, you can run away. You can try and hide, whatever. But like,
I remember my concealed carry class the first time I took it. This guy was like harping. He was all about the law. He was like, yes, I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself, but please use this as a last resort. And if you're going to keep one in the chamber, be ready to pull that trigger.
Yeah.
But know that your life is going to forever change, even if you're in the right and you're just defending yourself. There's a lot of shit that's going to come with that. That's going to ruin your life.
That's the most frustrating thing is that if everyone with a gun acted like a responsible gun owner, it'd be like the safest place in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because, you know, people like you, when you go to those classes, you get your full license and you do it properly. I mean, I remember someone saying to me, if you're going to carry a gun, you got to be willing to kill someone.
Yep.
And I was like, oh shit, yeah. I don't know if I want that on my conscience. And then you have a daughter, and you're like, oh yeah,
kids changed.
I'll do it like that, yeah. But yeah, man. And you know something else that someone made a point to me the other day was, you know, because again, growing up in Scotland, living in the UK, people don't understand why people are so gung ho about guns over here. Obviously, they don't have that history that America has with literally kicking the monarchy out of their, you know, whatever. But you look at somewhere like Ukraine. Somewhere that gets invaded and they're begging other countries with guns.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who made the point, but they were like, if someone pulled up on the shores of the States, the army wouldn't have time to get there before the citizens had fucking shot them up. And it's like, it does give you a bit of security. You know?
I think
with the problems it has, it's like, well, you know.
I think it's designed that way. I mean, when you really
look at the citizens, like you don't get to just go to war against their army. Like their citizens are armed.
Right.
All of them.
Yeah.
I mean, and you damn sure ain't landing on the southeastern part of this country. I can promise you that. Yeah. Like you may land in California or Oregon or Washington, but you're not landing in Texas or Florida.
You know, you say they land in New York, New Jersey up there. Once they get inland, and even those places up there, there's people are very red.
Sure.
Yeah, California outside of like LA and San Francisco is like farmland,
redneck is
fucking redneck,
you know, weed farms, like,
and those dudes have bears, snakes, fucking all that shit. So they have,
and they aren't really scared of shit out there either. I mean, they're living in the middle of nowhere. Like I remember we first started playing festivals and fairs. I see California on, you know, our itinerary and whatnot, and like a whole run out there. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. We're gonna go to LA, hang out at the beach, you know, just do the typical California stuff. And we get out there, we're playing in these rodeo arenas in the middle of nowhere in a dust bowl, and these dudes are cowboys through and through. The last thing I was expecting to see in California as a kid, and I realized, shit, this is not the California that's portrayed on TV. It is a very, very red state.
That's what's so cool about California as well, that like, I mean, it is paradise. You take the people out of it, you got beach, mountains, desert, you can ski in the winter.
Yeah.
And you can, in the same month, you can drive down to like San
Tahoe,
Diego and get like 75 degrees.
Yeah,
And
it's really incredible.
Yeah.
Tahoe's beautiful. The coast is beautiful. The PCH is beautiful.
Yeah.
The Bay Area is beautiful.
Yeah.
The people suck.
In those cities, but then you
Like,
get
in
to
those
the good
cities,
people are
yeah.
out the salt of
It's
the
like,
earth.
my wife's from Laguna, and we went to Laguna during pandemic, and it was like nothing. No, there was no mask mandates. There were no vaccine mandates.
Oh,
like,
really?
We were going into restaurants. We were going into stores. And this was during the pandemic, and we're in Southern California. Orange County is right next to L.A. County.
Yeah, Orange County is not L.A.
But it's
You
nothing
tell.
like it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Orange County is primarily conservative. Like, they think the same way we do.
Well, they've worked hard for what they have, and they want to keep it. Imagine that.
Yeah, no shit.
That's what people don't understand about conservatism. I'm like, conserve. We just want to keep the good stuff the way it is.
Yeah,
That's all it means. Like, people just don't. It's just, politics.
And I think a lot of liberals are very empathetic people. I think they've just been manipulated and twisted by the news and by media and by what they see on Netflix and movies, whatever else.
So you feel like you became, I mean, and you don't have to talk politics, but like you think, when moving over here from the UK, and you're probably a little more liberal over there, and then when you moved over, you became a little more conservative, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm still very like. Obviously, there's only two choices here, and right now.
Well, you can be in the middle. I've always considered myself.
I think I'm in the middle because I grew up with socialized healthcare, which I would say I get that you're like, if you break your leg, I don't want to have to pay for it. But I mean, I guess the way that we look at it is we actually pay about the same amount of tax. The highest earners in the UK, they pay a higher rate than the highest earners here. But like the working class, middle class, and like upper middle class pay about the same.
Very similar.
But it's just that, where that goes, we just put a bigger portion of it towards healthcare. Sure. That's probably my biggest socialist red flag right there. Yeah. This guy's a fucking commie. But I mean, I live here because I love it here. And I was, like I said, I was aiming for LA because of the acting stuff. Yeah. And I'm so glad I don't live there now. I mean, I've been there when I was filming a TV show in Atlanta. I went there to visit, my managers out there and stuff like that. I went out there, went to one of these like cool popping bars in West Hollywood, and everyone looks like a movie star. They're all like 19 to 25 years old. They're all so attractive, but there's just like so much vanity that you can't talk to anyone. And then so me and my buddy, he's from Australia, so he's a super normal guy as well. We kind of met halfway, and that happened to be LA. We're playing pool, start talking to these other guys, we start talking to these girls, and one of them goes, "Oh my God, so you're on TV, so what show are you on?" I was like, "Oh, I'm filming this TV show called Monarch, which is a country music show." Yeah. And they just started explaining that. It's on Fox, I'm in, 8 of the 10 episodes or whatever. And before you knew it, all these dudes that were too cool to talk to us were like, "Bro, get me on Instagram, man." And I was like, "This place fucking sucks, man." Yeah. You come out of Nashville, you're like, "I'm a songwriter." Everyone's like, "Dope. Right. That's cool. Yeah, we can hang." Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just so...
It's more genuine.
So vain and just like, what can you do for me? Oh, you're somebody, huh? Yeah. And so I'm just so glad I'm not out there, man. But yeah, sorry, to go back to politics. I like the South. I like the traditional conservative values, family, someone comes to your door and they need something, you help them as you can, Christian value, households.
I mean, I'll say like every Scottish person I've ever met, like I think family has always seemed very important to them, and they're pretty close knit with, their family and stuff, and they're always super kind. And I met a Scottish couple older, like in their late 60s, mid 60s probably, on my honeymoon, and we ended up spending like 4 days with them during our honeymoon, had dinner with them multiple times, and they were awesome. And we're actually going to go out and visit them.
Oh, nice.
Because he's pretty plugged in with the golf out there. He said he could get me on St. Andrews and Carnoustie and Royal Troon. So
man,
I was like, "Dude, you got me, bro. Like, I'll say no less. I will make my way out."
There's
there.
like a year-long waiting list for some of those, man.
Yeah, that's what he. So
unless you know somebody.
He said that he grew up with like 4 buddies. His name's Liam Donnelly, but he grew up with 4 buddies. He said 2 of his buddies are the 2 richest men in Scotland. They're like multi-billionaires. No way. He's like, "So if I can't get something for you in Scotland, I
one of them can." Yeah. And they'll fly you in on a helicopter.
But I was like, yeah, what a small world. But yeah, incredibly kind, incredibly generous people. Love to drink.
Love a bevy.
We found an Irish bar in Italy and got hammered with them like 3 times.
Oh man,
but yeah,
that's the problem that I'm sure Chris will tell you the same. But that's the problem we have because we love to drink, and Nashville is the drinking place.
So yeah, it's a drinking town with a music problem.
First 6 months that we were here, it was nasty.
Yeah,
You know, it was just every day waking up feeling like shit.
Yeah,
Scranning something, writing a song, and then just going straight back to Red Door, and it was just like. Eventually, I mean, that's why a lot of people end up. You said you were sober as well. You stopped drinking as well.
10 years now.
Yeah, I can see
for
why.
that same reason.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's too accessible, and a lot of time it's free as well.
Yeah,
and so you're just
everything's
like, why wouldn't
kind
I?
of around it. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, and
there's a lot of hurry up and wait in music. So you show up somewhere, you sound check, and then you got. If you're on the road, 8-10 hours before you play the show, then you play for an hour, and then if you're opening or you're playing for 20-30 minutes, then you got the rest of the night, and you're going to go watch the headliner show. So it's like going to a show every night and just, okay, I'm going to get as drunk as I possibly can. What else am I going to do? And it starts to catch up to you.
Get as drunk as possible.
I mean, I just had to drink a 5th of whiskey just to get back to even that baseline normal every day. And then it's like, okay, now I can start my normal routine.
Yeah, that's where I get. I don't mind if that's the only show of the weekend. I'll maybe have a shot before I go on stage, have a few drinks afterwards. But now, like if I have back to back, I have to just be like sober, and then. But it's hard because it sucks going on stage sober. To be honest, especially when you're used to going up a little bit buzzed.
Yeah,
you have so much more fun when you got a buzz on. It's less. You're less nervous.
I think for about the first 3 years, I felt like I was always chasing that buzz and that feeling that I had before. Then finally, I was like, you know what? Let's try to enjoy this for what it is.
Yeah.
And like experience this, watch people reacting to the music, see how you feed off that, see how I feed off of it. And then once I started approaching it differently, it became more fun than it was back when I was buzzed because
that's cool.
I realized how little of it I was actually experiencing back then because I was so numb to so many of the different emotions that you are feeling in the moment when you are a little bit more clear-headed and don't have any substances in your body. And
right.
It's like, oh shit, I love this even more than I thought I did.
Wow, that's really cool.
And then I was sober, my bandmate wasn't, so he was like, well, I miss the fun drunk Eric because I had no inhibitions. I'd say whatever I wanted on stage. And then now I was a little bit more reserved and more reactive watching what was going on. But you know, I got to see, okay, I was acting like you. Like, shit, man, I'm glad I'm sober. I can't believe I was doing that. That's embarrassing. And
I've definitely been too drunk before on stage and been like, cursing and just.
And that's a hard place to be.
A little bit. And everyone's like, because they're all pissed as well. But you're right. When you see that from the outside, when you're sober, you're like,
Yeah, but then looking back at it, seeing video or stuff pop up, and the nice thing at the beginning of our career is social media wasn't nearly as big a thing as it is now. Like we actually used to see people at the shows with their hands in there and a lighter instead of a phone and a flashlight.
Right. Yeah.
And like you hear about it in songs now, but nobody actually even sees it anymore. So I was like, I want to experience that. And I can remember what that was like now, and it's so different. And people are so in it for the instant gratification in the moment and trying to capture. The artist saying something crazy on stage or whatnot, that they're not there and in the moment, in the music. And so I think it was like Sabrina Carpenter this week posted something about, considering not allowing phones at her shows. And she said she'd gone to a Silk Sonic show and they didn't have phones. And she was like, I actually experienced the music. I felt it. I was there for the show. I wasn't distracted by my phone. And I think there's some beauty in that. And
a lot of comedians do that now. Hey, they have those Ziploc. Almost like a Ziploc thing. It's like magnetics on your way out. You scan it, you can take your phone back out.
When the Masters doesn't, the golf tournament, they don't allow phones. And I think pretty much everyone who spoke about it was like, it was so neat, like to just be in the moment and witness history, because it's, it's the biggest golf tournament in the world, in my opinion. So, I mean, and they're very traditional down there. They definitely keep to the old as close as they can, but I think I would love to see a world where we go back to the old flip phone and start shooting our texts out with T9 words again. I mean, and
it'd be nice. I don't know if we're too far gone to ever get back to that.
I certainly am.
It'd be really tough. I mean, and then the other side of it is a lot of people make their living through that device. So you can't.
It's the only way I sell tickets.
Can't take away what they earn. That's
and
how
it is a direct portal for a fan into an artist's career and into their catalog and into what they're doing. And
but you know what I've started doing is, or I've been doing it for about a year now, is like in the morning, doing whatever content, or here's my new song, blah blah blah. Right. Downloading Instagram, downloading TikTok, signing in physically, posting it, leaving a comment, song comes out 19th July, whatever,
right,
and then just deleting the app,
really,
and just going the rest, and the freedom that it gives you, like,
not being tethered to that app and just constantly like checking to see who liked it.
My thumb knows where that app is, and so
sure.
I'll check. I'll get a notification from, like, I don't know, WhatsApp, my gran sending me a picture of a cake that she made. And before I can go on that, my thumb is starting to find that Instagram app. And what the heck? And sometimes you're 5 minutes into scrolling, and you're like, oh, cake, grand, fuck. How did I end up here?
Well, and I mean, for you, I'm sure, like, you have quite a large following on Instagram. You probably your inbox is probably crazy. Like, you probably, there's no way you can read. I was like thinking about it when I messaged you. I was like, I hope he sees this, because I'm sure you get like, hundreds of thousands of messages. And
well, if you follow each other, it goes to the main so it's like
priority or whatever.
So it's like
true.
The message request, especially if a video goes viral, or some of them are mental, like.
Very mental. Bro, being here, we get packages for Riley from time to time with letters in them. Oh my gosh, bro. Like, I'm like, man, some of these people are seriously mentally ill. Like, this is wild. Like, you gotta.
We were managed by Ken Levitan, and he managed Kesha at the time. So, in the front of this office, they had, the mail was dropped off every day. So we get our packages, and there'd always be just a mountain of stuff for Kesha. And one of the assistants was like, dude, it's the weirdest thing. One night she was on stage and said something about teeth. And now the rest of her career, people send her teeth.
Oh, my.
And literally, they get boxes of, like, people's teeth.
Like, that's a weird thing to get in the mail,
I remember,
bro.
Getting a box, like, that I thought was ours, and it said, like, I think it was from the CMA or the ACMs,
oh my God.
And they had put like it in another box, and it was our medal when we got nominated for an ACM or a CMA that year. And I opened it up, and it's just this box full of teeth, and I was like, "Is this some kind of fucked up joke?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh no, that's Kesha. Her fans are crazy, and send her their teeth."
That's imagine they're just like, we're not even going to open them. Just shit. Yep, that's teeth.
That's
teeth.
Sounds like a baby rattle.
That one didn't rattle. Yeah, open that one.
Like, there's so many. Like, your teeth are some like the dirtiest thing. There's so many like germs, viruses, bacteria that live in teeth. So, like, I can only imagine the stuff that was grown in those boxes.
Oh man, that's so weird.
I always thought that was a weird one.
That's it. Yeah, you just got to mention it once, and that's for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird the things that people like get attached to and then harp on, but to each their own, I guess.
Wild. Yeah, I can imagine Riley gets some pretty gnarly stuff,
bro. Yeah, these women. We had a full-on breakdown in here the other day. She just missed him and just
lost her mind,
crying, belly crying. Like, I mean, bro,
because she didn't see him in the bar.
Because she didn't see him. I was like, what in the
crazy?
I was like, man,
that's tough. Eh? I mean, he does a good job at showing up.
Oh, he's great, man. I mean,
there's a lot of bars down there on Broadway that you never see the person whose name is on the bar the bar. But he does a good job. But
he'll jump up and play. He'll take pictures. Riley's probably one of the most accommodating that I've ever seen.
Yeah, he seems like an actual team player and has vested interest in it. Whereas a lot of those guys, I mean, I guess Morgan's not even allowed to go in his bar unless he's playing the one time a year, right? But, but I know those deals are all worked totally differently. Yeah. Also, a lot of them are licensing deals and whatnot. But
I saw Eric Church was playing quite a lot down at his place.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too.
Yeah, we just booked a show there actually.
Oh, nice.
End of August. I guess they're trying to do more national type stuff. So
that's awesome.
I'm excited about it. We don't get to play in town all that often. So.
Yeah, they should do more stuff like that, man. I did a full band, big CMA show down at Luke Combs, Calgary 10. And I guess when he took it over, they redid all the sound and everything. Dude, the sound was
that place always was incredible.
That's
so the fact that it's gotten that much better blows my mind.
They just need to book bigger acts. They need to book stuff like you guys in there. They need to do Ryman size. I mean, because that place will hold
it's huge. You can sell a lot of tickets there, and it still feels empty. And you've got 2,000 people in there. It still feels empty.
You could probably put 3,500 people in there if you opened up the whole thing.
Oh yeah. That was the only thing. The only issue that we had in there was that before we went on stage, they were doing, the line dancing and everything. So everyone was on the floor line dancing, and then that finished. So everyone that was line dancing
clears out, and then
goes
you
to the
gotta bring them all
sides.
back.
And so, I started the first song, and there was like 30 people at the front railing, like getting as close as possible. And everyone else was like on tables, but on all 3 floors.
Yeah.
So I was like, if everybody in here was in front, the floor would be filled. Yeah. And so I was like, guys, I feel like you're so far away. Everyone shifting, and
we did
I got maybe another 100 people on there, but people are sitting at their table. You'd almost have to like rope off the and just be like, if you're here for the show, that's the because it did feel a bit empty at the start, and then slowly people started coming off the tables. So I got my camera guy. I was like, just take a video of everyone around the balcony,
and then go down the line of the 2 rows, real close up.
Go in between.
What
2
guys like
heads.
Jimmy are for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all an illusion.
For real.
So we did an uncut experience in there with my Chase Irwin, and I think we had Kane Brown on that. We had a huge turnout. And it didn't look busy. I was like, I think we had like 1,800 people. You had like 1,800 people show up, and it did not look busy in there. And I was like, man, that's the only tough thing with those big rooms and opening them daily is how do you fill it up? Like it takes a lot of people. But I mean, they got great resources. That's a Gaylord overseen property, so they have the Opry's resources and. So they'll have some great acts in there. I'm sure there'll be like a lot of good stuff coming away. And I think Luke, that's one of the places you could take your family, down there.
Yeah, it doesn't really have that Broadway vibe quite as much.
Yeah, there's kids in there up line dancing. We had my baby in there when I was playing and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. And that's right up Luke Combs' alley. I mean, he's a family guy, and I know that stuff's important to him. He don't want to be attached to anything, people getting hurt or getting blackout drunk all the time. He's a pretty solid dude and stuff like that. So I think they did a great job with that. And that room is crazy.
Yeah, it sounds great in there. The lighting is amazing. I mean, the whole thing's awesome. So how did you make the transition from acting to music? Or did you play music in Scotland?
I always played the guitar, always sang, but just as like a hobby, just like bedroom, shower, in the car type shit. But I always thought I was like, all right. No one in my family was really that musical. My dad he's musical, but doesn't realize it. Like he whistles on tune, and he when he's in the car, he plays the drums on the steering wheel, but he's never played an instrument, but he did. So he doesn't.
He's got an ear. Yeah.
He's got an ear. And so, but I liked playing the guitar. I used to listen to like the kind of emo, teenage rocky Fall Out Boy and Green Day and my
Dashboard Confessional and stuff.
All that kind of stuff. So I grew up listening to that, but I couldn't really play that on the guitar. And then when I moved to Texas at 17, I think before I got there, the guy that had hired me started to send me country songs to learn. He's like, you got to get like, and it was like the basics. It was like chicken fried and, all that kind of
Wagon
stuff.
wheel.
Wagon wheel. He's like, here's like the top 10 that you need to know before you get here. And I was like, damn, this is good. And then I started playing them on the guitar. I was like, this is a lot easier to play than those big rock riffs and shit like that.
Yeah.
And country music comes from Scots-Irish folk music mixed with gospel, and that's so for us. I think it's quite easy to sing, and it's really natural to just. I mean, it started off I was just kind of copying the accents that the guys in the songs were doing, but then it just kind of became my natural singing voice, and then I was doing a bunch of acting. I got an opportunity to do to do Monarch, so I auditioned to play a Texas country singer in a country TV show, and I auditioned, got the role, and I was like, maybe I could actually do this. And as I was playing the role, like the guy that I was playing, the character was like up and coming superstar, getting like all these record labels were like, we want to sign you, man, we think your music sounds great. And I was like, damn, imagine this was happening in real life. That'd be dope. And they canceled the show because the music was great in the show, but the script just didn't really work out.
Trace Atkins was in there.
Trace Atkins, he's a great guy.
Talking about a big guy with a deep voice.
Oh, holy moly,
bro! That guy's intimidating.
And like just great. The softest temper. Like, hey man. A lot of times when you're sitting like waiting for them to set up the cameras or whatever in between takes, you'll ask a question and he'll answer you, but he might not particularly be in the mood for a conversation. Right. And it's not because he doesn't like you around, and he's just like, yeah. But then every now and then, when I started recording the music for the show, I think he realized that, you know, I actually liked country music.
Yeah,
right? And he's like, oh man, I heard your song, man. Yeah, I can't even do his voice, but you know, I heard your voice, man. It sounded pretty good. And I was like, and then he goes, there was one day I was coming up to Nashville. We were filming in Atlanta. I was coming up to Nashville. He goes, I'm not going to do his voice the whole time. He goes, I said, I hear you're going up to Nashville. You know, I got a house up there, I live up there, you know, a couple businesses potentially up there. You know, take my number, let me know when you're there, and you know, we catch up or whatever. So he gives me his number. I get to Nashville, text him, hey man, that's me in Nashville, if you want to catch up. Never text me back. He got me.
That's funny.
But yeah, he was great. So anyway, it was basically, I started filming that. All the musicians on the show were from Nashville. I started coming up on weekends.
Right.
And probably the same as, you know, yourself and, you know, every other musician here. As soon as I got here, I was like, this is it. This is Mecca. This is where I need to be.
Yeah.
I was it wasn't like a decision. It just felt like the next step.
Right.
It felt like more of a passion than acting. You know, I'd always done it as a hobby, but I wasn't sure. I hadn't written a song ever before, so I was like, I got to learn how to do that. And so I just kind of got to Nashville and started at the bottom and wrote some horrendous songs and worked out how to make them a little bit better each time. And, you know, still write some horrendous songs, but occasionally there's a decent one sprinkled in there. And
that's awesome.
That was it, man. Just, but I mean, you know, I still do a bit of acting as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
So for you, I mean, I think you've had quite a bit of success acting. You know, you more driven to the music, or do you both of them?
They're both great. I mean,
obviously,
as you guys know, music is really hard to make a living, you know, and a good living from music, and it is in acting as well. But if you book an acting job, it will give you a good bump of cash.
Yeah, once you get some traction and you start getting other jobs, and you know,
whereas you can be a big musician and be earning fuck all from streams, you know. So it's, so acting's good. It's well paid. It's definitely, you know, it bought me my truck. You know, if it was just music, I'd still be in the 2013 Ram, which I loved. But you know, I got to upgrade because of acting.
I think we had the same truck, or like the silver Ram. Like mine was a 2018, but like we pulled in together one day, and I was like. Nice truck, dude. Like we're literally the same truck. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you've.
The difference was yours pulled in smoothly. Mine's like
transmission falls out.
Yeah, don't worry. I just pop that back in.
Ratchet strap it.
I know you. You know, you obviously were on quite a few episodes of Virgin River, and you did. Bro, it's crazy is that I had no idea you were in Wheel of Time, and Wheel of Time is like one of my favorite shows. I'm a giant nerd, so all the fantasy, you know, world type shows.
Oh, really?
Like, I love that stuff, like Lord of the Rings, and you know, all the Game of Thrones, all that type. You know, anything in that space, I love it. And so I started watching Wheel of Time like when it first came out. I know it's based on books, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I was watching the last season, and then all of a sudden, here comes my boy kicking everybody's ass. And I was like, dude, I took a picture of the TV and sent it to Tay, my wife. So I think you guys have written together.
Maybe, yeah.
But anyways, I was like, check this shit out. I was like, he's in Wheel of Time, and she's like, what is Wheel of Time? She doesn't watch any of that stuff, but
it's a cool show.
It is very cool.
The premise is, you know, really intriguing. I watched it the first time and I was like, dang, I can really get into this.
I think apparently the books are fucking amazing. I've got a few friends that have read the books, but yeah, they just this is another weird thing about TV. They just canceled the show after 3 seasons.
Really?
But the 3rd season was like the highest rated episodes of like Amazon history.
Huh.
And I guess it was just too expensive to make.
Right.
So I guess, and that's the annoying thing about, I guess, all the streaming thing, all art just now, is that what is a successful show? Is it that like 1 billion people watch it, like Squid Games or something like that, or you know which was also good, or is it that like 1 million people watch it, but everyone votes at like a 9.9,
right? And
it's like a slow burner, and people slowly learn about it over time. And I think that was what was happening with Wheel of Time, but I guess they just decided like it's too expensive to make.
Music versus TV and film. I mean, I feel like you're talking about whether it has, 1 million viewers and everyone's rating it really high, or if it has 1 billion and not everybody even watches the full episode, but just has a ton of eyes on it. I would say it's similar in music, where if you have just a rabid social media following, yet you're not streaming quite as well, they'll still take a chance on you and they'll sign you. But if the opposite is true, and you have crazy streaming numbers but no real social media following, they won't look at it. So is it the same in TV and film, where
I guess.
There's a million ways to skin a cat, like we were saying earlier, but
I think you're right. And
they're
also
willing to take money however they can get it.
I know so many guys in this town that are sitting on like fire songs, like unbelievable songs, and no one will know. I mean, it costs like, me and Chris did Tamed by Tennessee for $4,000. We paid $2,000 each to get that produced, and it sounded great.
Yeah.
So it would cost a label $4,000 to just give someone a shot for one song.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, but they don't want to do that. They want to be like, oh, but we need to do all this, and this, and we're going to need to put a marketing budget, and we're going to tie you up for 5 years and 3 albums, and it's like, just let this person put that song out. I don't know. So yeah, it's kind of the same. Like there's filmmakers that are unbelievable, and then there's people that do like the 27th Christmas movie in like the hills of England, where like the American girl goes over for the
same story over and over and over, and these women just eat it up.
And it's like, that's not good. Oh, I guess it is good art. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like original or particularly creative, but it gets a fuck ton of eyes. So they're just like,
and in the music world, it's like we have our artists that we're fans of that are these small niche little things, and it's almost like we want to keep it that way selfishly. Like, oh no, that's my cool little indie rock project that I love, and I don't want it to blow up. But I'm then like thinking as an artist, like, what a horrible attitude to have as a fan. Like, please, I should want everyone to hear this.
So as a fan, though, what happens is, I think it's happened to almost every artist I've noticed in my lifetime, is that they become commercialized.
Right.
And then it's not the same product that they were putting out that got them where they're at. Yeah. So,
which I understand.
I want you to get paid, but I don't want you to dilute your art.
Right. Yeah. But at the same time, if my art is my livelihood, I get that 100%. And I think an artist also wants to stay true to that, and that that authentic, cool sound that got them that initial kind of cult following. Yeah. But then you start to see dollar signs, and you start to realize, oh well, I have 2 kids. I need to do something. Right. I can't just make these cool little indie records. I need something that is more mainstream, because, like you were saying, it's hard to make a living in music. And then all of a sudden, if you figure out a way where you can, you're like, and all of a sudden, the bank account starts increasing, and you're starting to feel good about the project. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I will make some concessions on the artistic integrity just so I can be comfortable. And then maybe I'll play the game for 10 songs and put out 2 projects that toe the commercial line, and then that gives you the ability to go back and put out a project that is more like what got you there. But like, you can't always do it that way, just because you got to make a living. You got to put food on the table.
It's like, you get some cool art, like John Mayer does. He does like a Grateful Dead type thing. He's got the John Mayer Trio,
Dead and Company,
he's got like all these different little side projects that you have to be like a super fan to know about them. But that's his like passion. And then he does, his John Mayer
put out a
shit.
Record every 5 years that scratches the itch for everyone else that needs that more mainstream sound. And
I tell you who was good at Nickelback.
Yeah,
they used to release like a song like what was it really bad? I'm standing in line of clubs, I'll never get in. Rockstar.
Yeah.
Dude, if you listen to that album, it's full of fucking rock bangers. Yeah. And that one's like number 11 on the album track, the track list. And it's like, that one got the radio. That one paid for the album, paid for the tour, kept the label happy, got them another bonus,
and everyone thinks they know who Nickelback is based off of the songs they've heard on the radio. Dude, but it's like, you really dive into their catalog, it's incredible.
I just want to say, I got no shame. I love it. I've always liked Nickelback. Here. Those guys are awesome. Chad's a pretty cool dude. I've met him a couple times.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, I don't care, man. Like, I'll go out there on the limb for Nickelback.
That's a hill I will die on.
What do they call it now? Divorced dad rock? Yeah. All right, well, that's what it is.
But it's like,
why was I listening to it at 13?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Creed, like, I love Creed. Those guys are unbleevable.
My own person,
and I think their careers kind of like come back over the last.
Scott Stapp is killing it now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're playing arenas again.
That's amazing.
And he kept it going. Like, I have a buddy that has been his drummer for years, and he's playing small little clubs, 50, 250 people, and he just kept it going and kept his head down, and then it came back. And now he's back to just crushing it. They're a full crew out there, all their buses again.
That's
it's
awesome.
Yeah.
And his voice, man. I mean, that dude.
Well, yeah, it's one of the most, like, you can mock it all you want, but it's hard to sing that way, and the way he does it, it's really an art. And
he can deliver, man.
You can mock it all you want, but there's something to be said for people that just got that thing and they stick with it, and it's a generational, like, it just keeps going. Like,
There's no winning.
Good music survives and resurfaces.
If you sound like someone else, they go, you're a so-and-so wannabe, but if you sound different, they're like, what the fuck's up with this guy's voice? It's like, where's the middle ground, man?
Yeah. No,
you got to sound similar enough to everybody, but in your own way, it's like, there's no winning.
Yeah, so what
especially with social media, like those
yeah.
Sometimes I'm guilty for like reading comment sections on like,
oh, bro,
if someone's got like a song, like, have you seen those guys? And I don't know if it's parody or not, but it's like, it's waking up, busting your butt, trying to get a. And I can't tell if it's parody or not, but they seem to be fucking killing it.
Yeah,
they are.
But I think it is parody, but they're killing it.
And so it's kind of becoming real.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's the way I think it is. It's the way how I see it. But
it's kind of like Walker Hayes, man. Like, he blew up off of an Applebee's commercial. I mean, but then you start looking at it like, he's a really talented songwriter, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, he had good songs before that. And after that.
Yeah.
I mean, but that just was one of those viral anomalies that just kind of... Well, and if you ask him about it, I mean, he's riding it all the way to the bank. I mean,
I don't know if it's true. Someone told me that he had, like... I think he was like stocking shelves, and he had, like, 2 or 3 kids before that blew up. And then... That blew up, and then he's had like 3 or 4 more.
He's got like 6 or 7 kids.
Yeah, he likes having kids. That's for sure.
Yeah, I just played in his golf tournament this past Monday and had his whole family out there. There's a lot of them.
Too many buses.
Needed a bus just to get them there.
At least they're Alabama fans. I give him
he's
that.
a great guy.
Roll Tide all day.
Yeah, and he's good at the old social media because he does like kind of funny skit type stuff.
TikTok stuff.
Yeah,
dances with his daughter and
and he's done a really good job of making it kind of his own. Doesn't seem like sure he chases the TikTok dance fad in a sense, but he's like self-deprecating about how he does
genuine.
it. Yeah, exactly.
He's kind of making fun of himself along the way.
It's his daughter's thing, but he kind of just gets in there and does it. And
Did you see the one where he's got the bass, the letterbox, the mailbox, and his wife's like, we put a new kitchen in our new house, and he's like, yeah. He's like looking at something, he's not listening, and she's talking around the house, and he's like, I got a fish mailbox.
I think that's how most men think. I mean, that's how I think for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
You got new music coming our way anytime soon?
Yeah, got a EP coming 25th of July. 3 of the songs are out already.
How many are you doing on the EP?
6 altogether.
6. Cool.
So got 3 dropping that day. One of them as a single, 2 of them just come out as the kind of whole package. Got a music video coming for that single, and then the night after that, I play the Opry, do the Opry debut, which is pretty cool.
Congrats on that, bro.
Thanks, man. That I didn't even know that was a potential thing, so it kind of came out of the blue.
I mean, I probably never thought of that when you were back home in Scotland as a kid, huh?
Dude, I probably didn't even know what the Grand Ole Opry was. Or no, I definitely did, but I didn't realize how big of a deal it was until I got here. And I've gone and toured it just as like we went in and did the Opry radio before and the WSM, and they gave us like a little tour afterwards, and it felt like I was a long way away from being able to get on that stage then. So it's really cool.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I
know how most Lauren Watkins, we had her on, and she just had her Opry debut.
I was there.
And her being she's from here, born and raised, and I was like, dude, I can't imagine what that was like for her, I mean, and then somebody for you, like you're coming from all the way across the pond,
yeah, man.
I mean, that's a really cool thing, man.
It's crazy.
Congrats on that.
Just the caliber of the artists that have graced that stage. I mean, in all formats, just across the board from the time it started. I mean, the history, and you really feel that presence and that just, I don't know. There's just a reverence and an air of just it's country history. It's the country royalty has stood on that stage.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to put it into
like
words.
a rite of passage almost.
Yeah.
It's almost like kind of being accepted into the world
the family. Yeah.
And I think for me, another thing that really solidified that was back in 2010 we had the flood. And I remember we were playing a show out in San Diego, got stuck there, couldn't get back. And I remember seeing the pictures of the Opry House and just remembering what it was back then. Because back then, like, you walk through the halls, there's fluorescent lights. Like, it wasn't like this warm and inviting place that it is now. It's really nice back there now. But back then it was
really,
you know, it had like a backstage at the Opryland, like theme park kind of vibe to it. Like, no, this is just the backstage where everybody comes and, you know, hustles around. Like, it just wasn't as nice back then. And then to see how they treated the stage almost like it was this holy artifact. Like cutting it out, raising it up, and just, you know, the way they treated it, I was like, oh shit, this place is more important than I realized. And
that's
and we only played it a couple times at that point, and then now we've played it 76 times.
Have you? Oh, nice.
Like, it's my favorite stage in the world to play. Like, there's nowhere else that I like playing as much as the Opry. And like, that's, I think at this point in my career, my biggest goal would be at some point to be a member of the Grand Ole Opry. Just like, I don't think people, like, you hear Vince Gill talk about it, and some of the old people, like, I don't know that there's a bigger honor in country music.
No, I
don't think there is. I mean, you can win Grammys, you can win everything else, but being a member of the Grand Ole Opry is one of the just hands down coolest things I think that you can achieve in a career. So
absolutely,
dude. I was there when they inducted Keith Whitley into the Hall of Fame.
Oh wow!
And you know, because I don't know if I'm right in saying this. Usually they don't do it with people who are already dead. You know, they get inducted when they're alive. If you know, usually they're in their 70s or whatever, and they've had a long career. But they inducted him into the Hall of Fame. His son got up and did a song, and then his wife that he was with,
Jesse.
I think so. Yeah. He's got like that kind of rocky Texas vibe. He got up and did a song, and then the wife that he had at the time, I forget her name, but she was an artist as well. She sang "When You Say Nothing at All," and it was just like,
was it?
Is that not a dry eye in the house?
Is that Jesse's mom?
Jesse's wife, I think.
Yes,
or
mom.
Jesse's
It's
mom.
his mom.
Jesse's mom, Keith Whitley's wife.
Oh, Lori Morgan.
Lori Morgan.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean, she was huge, like a huge country artist when I was a kid. His mom.
I kind of, I guess growing up where I grew up, I kind of got here, you know, mid 2000s. Like those were like the older guys. And
for
so
sure.
I had to do a bit of research.
Keith Whitley was unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people in country music, especially the older crowd, think that he would have been the greatest.
I mean, even just his short career, it's like there's a lot of people that think he is the GOAT.
Those are some of the best songs that have ever been written and performed.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously,
dude, I'm no stranger to the
history.
rain. Like,
and one of the purest, coolest, most unique sounding voices. Delivery was always just so emotional and on point. I mean, he's one of those. I'd listen to him sing the phone book. But a different, like I say the same thing about Shay Mooney from Dan and Shay. The kid just has pipes, but like it's a different thing with someone like Keith Whitley. You feel their pain, you feel whatever it was they were going through. It's like Shay can make anything sound good, but you know, that was a different type of authenticity back then.
Like that Tell Lori I Love Her song. Like, I mean, he basically wrote a suicide note. I mean, that's, and then, you know, we all know how that ended. So
and I guess he was the story that I heard was that the label was like, right, we need 12 more songs or whatever. He goes out to the middle of nowhere and writes them, but I guess they probably thought he was smoking some pot or having. I don't think they realized how bad he was getting on those trips, and they just kept sending him back out there, and he'd come back with like these beautiful heart wrenching songs, And
I nobody in his right mind. Write something like that. I mean, I guess it's proof of what he was living and going through, and I think that's why those songs are just gold, because it's like a window into his heart and what he was feeling at that moment, and there was just no sugarcoating it, no disguising it. It was what you heard was what he was living. Man. So
unbelievable. So
I don't know if that's true, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
To me,
so. No, I mean, I'm a huge Keith Whitley fan, so that's very cool that you got to be there for his induction.
Yeah, and Garth Brooks comes out, and you know what he's like with a crowd, man.
He's awesome with the crowd.
Man. He played, I can't remember which song he played. Played a really slow song, really nice. But you know what he's like? He etches it all out, and like he really draws everyone in. And he goes, oh, I hate all those artists that are only known for one song, and and people ask for that same song downtown all the time. So anyway, here's Friends in Low Places. He's just such an entertainer, man.
Yeah, it's like a workshop, I think, every time. Well, he's in the room even. He doesn't have to be playing. Just the way he works the room, the way he treats people.
Yeah.
I mean, he meets how many hundreds of thousands, millions of people, but he still at least makes you feel like your interaction is special and you're not just another hand, which is
I love his show here, the stadium show he did the last time in Nashville. We were there and we're really good. We were in the pit right down front, and he did a request section. And I think growing up in the 90s, like, pretty much all the fans kind of pitted him and George Strait against each other. You were either like a big Garth fan or George Strait, and he just started taking requests. And then you hear somebody scream George Strait, and he goes, "Oh." He's like, I can play some King George. And he called him King George, and I thought that was awesome. A really cool pay of respect. I mean, he's calling him he's calling somebody else the King of Country when he very well could be the King of Country himself.
Yeah.
And went right into Amarillo by Morning, and it was so good. I was like, and he picked that song, I'm like, dude, like, kudos to you. Like, I'm not a huge fan of his politics personally, but
I mean, he's a weird guy.
Not
gonna lie here.
You see his comment section,
but musically, dude, I mean, Garth's he's one of the legends for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was inspiring for sure. To go from like Keith Whitley's career, this whole night that was all based around him, and then Garth Brooks coming out and just being that like electric.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn. I went to the listening room the other day, and there's a publisher here that I forget her name. She got cancer recently, and they did a benefit for her. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Blonde girl.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
I hadn't actually met her before, but she works with a lot of people that and so they had all these like number one songs played that night, and it was just like the same thing as going to the opera. You're just like, I'm so inspired to be better.
Yeah.
I'm like, once you feel like, oh, I'm getting up there, and then you listen to that, you're like, oh fuck, I got work to do.
Do you feel like in the acting world that you have people, like, say you're on a movie or a show with a big lead or something, do you get that way about people in that business? Is it the same, or are there some of those guys, like, let's just throw Brad Pitt's name out there, for example, like if you were on a movie with him or set, like, is he the kind of guy that you watch and you try to pick up stuff? And
I mean, to be honest, usually most of the people that I've worked with are just like super nice. You get like one or two people who will like ego act, and they'll just like, they're just assholes because they want, I don't know. Actors are weird.
They're weird. Actors
people in general, it's a bizarre little population of people, but I think most of the times the dudes that I've met are just like, they're like the older guys that you would look up to are just like, they're super, super handsome and charming, and they know it.
Right.
And they make an effort to be as like awesome as possible,
right?
Because it's kind of like they're acting all the time,
right?
And so it's like it's hard not to get on with them because they're just like, they look in your eyes and you're like fuck it, oh guys, Jesus Christ, like, what's going on here? Right. Like, is he flirting with me right now, or is it just his face?
Right. That's amazing.
And but usually, they're all super nice. And then I'd say for every job, there's always one or two guys that I'll make friends with, like outside of the show, and they're what I would say normal people are, but they're just as weird as us. But they're just more kind of like me. They like sports and drinking beer and music or whatever. Yeah. So there's usually one or two. But yeah, there's a couple of people that have been really, I guess, famous that I've worked with that have been like just nightmares.
Really?
On set, I don't want to mention names, obviously, just because.
Who's the most famous person that you probably worked with so far, you think?
Damn, good question. I mean, Trace is up there, not for acting, but for
the country music world.
If you look at the country music world, damn, that's a good question. I worked with girl. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah.
This girl Natalie Emmanuel, I think her last name is. She's the kind of mixed race.
She's pretty attractive.
Yeah. Not very easy on the eye. But
dark curly hair.
Yes, kind of had the braids into it. Yeah,
Melisandre, I think was her name in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, nailed it.
I remember exactly. Right.
I worked with her. There was a couple other famous people on that show. I'm trying to think. I'm kind of bad with names as well, and the problem is a lot of times when you work with, if you're like a big cast, you don't actually do scenes with those people.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of scenes with an English actress called Anna Friel, who's
I know her.
you know Anna Friel,
The dark hair.
She was in Monarch. She had she kind of had like a reddish kind of wig on, but yeah, she got dark hair usually. And she's very established, very kind of famous in the UK. But I've never done any kind of I've never been with like Robert De Niro or
So what you got? Any acting? I know you got, which again, I'm going to show myself as a nerd, but I know you got One Piece coming up.
Yeah.
And you're playing Smoker.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is a sick character. I was
man.
How did you end up getting pulled into that one?
That just classic audition again. I auditioned with a Scottish accent, and they were like, "We like your look for the character," because it's based on a guy that's already a we call it cartoon, they call it anime.
Yeah.
But it's so.
It's a very successful anime series. If people watchers don't know, One Piece is a huge anime series.
Dude, I didn't realize
they're bringing it to real life, right?
I didn't realize how big it was worldwide.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's giant, big. I guess the most successful, bigger than Pokemon.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Wow.
Yeah. And I'd never heard of it before. I just haven't in that
whenever
world.
I saw that you were playing Smoker, I was like, your life's about to change. I was like, his life's about to change. You're about to be super famous, bro. I was like, playing Smoker. I was like, that's gonna be a huge thing for you.
Well, I start in season 2. Season 1's out already. I don't know when they're going to bring season 2 out, but the guys from season 1 are just they're doing the Comic-Cons and
and they teased you at the end of season 1, right? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Man, that's the coolest role I've done so far.
That's awesome.
By a mile.
Are y'all done shooting that?
Yeah, done shooting season 2. They've not confirmed if they'll do a season 3, but I think the show's doing so well that they'd be silly not to.
For sure.
I think they know it as well. They've just got such a huge fan base. But I kind of thought, as music's kind of getting bigger, I can kind of turn down a few of the smaller acting jobs.
Right.
Eventually, I'd love it if it was just I could book the year out. Right, I'm on tour these months, and I'm doing a film these months, and then I'm on tour, or and then this time's off. But One Piece is one of those shows that I would. If I had a tour lined up, I'd be like, right, let's take the summer, push it to the fall, and let's do One Piece because it's just it's so good, man. Yeah. My guy smokes 2 cigars at once, drives a fucking gnarly ass tripod, not tripod,
he's a badass
trike.
dude.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'll show you some pictures after.
That's sick.
Awesome.
Did they put long hair on you, or
it was like a big blonde wig?
Oh, okay.
So and spray tan and I got super ripped for it because. When I looked at the anime, I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah,
he's jacked.
Yeah.
And so I was just not eating during the day, and then just having 2 steaks and 4 eggs at night. Maybe some fruit. Crushing the gym, CrossFit, jiu-jitsu. Since lost that because I was as soon as you get back to Nashville, I'm like beers, grilling, burgers.
Where was the filming for that One Piece?
South Africa.
Oh wow,
that's cool.
Oh man,
how'd you like South Africa?
Man, if they got their politics figured out,
it's beautiful down there.
They'd be. I mean, it's probably one of the. I've not been to enough countries to say the most beautiful place in the world, but I mean, it's nuts. Yeah, and same as that kind of California thing. You've got beach, mountains, fucking desert,
jungle,
but they've also got jungle and safari and oh man, yeah. But yeah, the place is just the country itself is pretty dangerous right now.
Yeah.
Did you experience any of that while you were there, or you guys were pretty isolated?
Cape Town is, I say Cape Town. The central Cape Town is pretty safe.
Yeah.
Like any city, shit goes wrong sometimes for tourists and stuff, but for the most part, it's safe. But I mean, dude, when you drive, you land in the Cape Town airport, and then you drive through the townships, which is this would be 3 houses the size of this room.
Wow.
And it's all just metal grates that people put up as walls and roofs. And it just goes on for miles and miles. There's millions of people living in metal
shanties,
tents, basically. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so it's so hard to see coming from, you know, the Western society. And then, you know, you turn this big corner and then the houses get a little bit nicer, and then boom, you've got like this paradise vista of a town, of a city. And it is amazing. And it's amazing if you're earning dollars and turning it into rand, and you know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if they could get their shit sorted out, you know.
How long were you there?
3.5 months.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's good, and they put me up in. I mean, this is the difference sometimes between acting and music. They fucking put me up in this like beautiful 2-bed apartment. Like it would be like living. I don't know what the Nashville equivalent is, but it's like living off Fifth Avenue in New York. Like I was right down on the harbor, like best location in town. Had a full-time driver.
That's awesome.
It was just stupid, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Stupid.
So you weren't sleeping in an attic above an old dive bar?
No. Well, I did a couple nights, but that's a different story.
Yeah, different reason, right?
Yeah.
I know you got a little one.
Yep.
How's fatherhood been?
Oh man, best thing in the world, man. It's you have kids?
Not yet. We got married last April, so we just started trying.
Nice.
We gave it a year or so, and then kind of started trying. My wife, she has PCOS, which she would love to know that I'm talking about this shit on the podcast, but it makes her periods irregular, so
I see. Okay.
we don't know like when she's ovulating or whatnot. So we're just fired in the
fuck
dark
all the time then.
Yeah, right.
It's a good excuse.
Sorry, you can take that out. I don't want to. Sorry, Tay. Yeah, you can delete that.
Y'all should write a song about it. Yeah, she would hate that. But
yeah, you can delete that.
But yeah,
I tell that to say no. They don't have kids.
How old is your daughter now?
My daughter's 18 months.
18
and so,
months.
Yeah, best thing that's ever happened to me. And she just gets cuter, and like, you know, you filled with love for this little thing, and you think there's no way I could love this kid anymore, and then they do something new, and you're just like, well,
there you go.
There you have it.
Yeah.
I somehow love you even more, and it's best thing ever. But total life changer. I think in some ways it's made me work harder and you know, be out less, and all those things are good things, really. You know,
for
like
sure.
I still like a night out every now and again, but you know, before that, me and her mama were out every single night of the week, and now we're like, you know, I'll go to the gym, you look after the baby, you go to the gym, I'll look after the baby, we'll cook dinner, we'll put the baby to bed, and it's like, it's a lot more wholesome of a life now.
Bro, that's full. It's full. You know, I you know, going out and, you know, been in the bar business 25 years and DJ'd for 15 of it, and you know, I 45, don't have any kids, didn't get married till I was 44. And, you know, all my boys were like, dude, just keep doing what you're doing, bro. Like, you know, and but like, I'm also old enough and mature enough at this point in my life to realize, like, yeah, man, what I'm doing is fun, like, but there's no weight to it. Like, it's not important. Like, me DJing a frat party for a bunch of sorority girls at Vanderbilt. Yeah, it's a good time, but, and,
I think just different stages of life, too. It's like
certain
certain things happen. It's like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And you do have kids, and you're like, oh shit, this is just different. It's totally different. I mean, you can't even compare the two. And now you have somebody else that you're making decisions for, and now all of a sudden the decisions you're making affect somebody else. Whereas before, it really only affects you, and then if you get too fucked up, maybe the people you're with. But like,
Do you have kids?
I do. I have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old. But
oh yeah, nice. You're further down the line than I am. But
it's amazing. But I mean, I remember both of them. A year to 18 months. It's such a cool stage. There's nothing quite like watching a child that you created or helped create just turn it into a little you, and it's scary. It's a lot of responsibility.
Man, she's like maybe the last 6 to 8 weeks. She's been walking, and she's been saying, you know, mama, dada for a while, but now all that's coming together, and you know, I have like a little office studio thing up the stairs. I'll come down the stairs, and she'll go, Dada, and her face lights up. She sprints across the room, and I'm like, oh my god! And I mean, that's first of all, that's a daddy's girl learning how.
I was about to she owns
wrap
you,
me
bro.
around her pinky, you know. Sure. But I mean, it works. I'm just like, I'll do anything. Yeah, you name it, you know. So
that's cool.
It's
man.
been.
Well, man, we really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, boys.
Yeah, dude, it's been a blast. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for the new music. You said July
25th.
July 25th, 3 songs, and then 3 more coming your way.
3 songs are out, 3 more all together in a little package. And then I think, to be honest, probably few more songs this year.
Nice.
Trying to put together some tour dates for the fall for Texas, Oklahoma, maybe Arkansas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Texarkana.
Do you have
Yeah.
Do you have a release date for One Piece
No,
season
no,
yet?
they just said it's coming. They were like, we're gonna make a big announcement. It's coming.
It's coming.
And everyone was like, we knew it was coming. We're looking for a date.
We'll be anxiously waiting for it.
Yeah,
Can't wait to see it.
Whenever it comes, but usually that's like a set and forget.
Yeah.
Film it and then don't think about it. Otherwise, you're like, take 2
Drive
years.
yourself nuts. Just
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. When am I gonna be famous, guys?
And I guess the better this season does, the better for your season. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's only gonna help. So
Exactly.
maybe we have to wait a little longer to see you on there, but
Yeah, me too. We should maybe do a watch party in here.
yeah,
Bro,
that'd be
let's
awesome.
do it.
That could be nuts.
Upstairs.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
With
Been
all
up there?
all the TVs up there.
I've been up
So we
maybe
got,
once hammered.
what is it? 7 jumbotrons
It just circles the whole room, yeah.
Oh,
up there. Like, it would be the best place ever to watch it, bro.
All right.
We'll set that up.
Let's do a viewing party.
Yeah, we'll throw you a bone up there for coming on and hanging out with us today. I'll be like, I had to trade him. Like, he gets the room. He gets the room for the viewing party.
Had to come on and talk.
That'd be a cool idea, though. We'd love to do that.
Had to come on and talk straight shite in order to get the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, that's fine by me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Awesome, man. Callum
Cool.
Kerr, appreciate you.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Thanks again, y'all.
Thanks, guys.